Hello, today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. I'm only a little bit late. I did this tag last year for the first time, really enjoyed it. It's one of the better ones. You can see my shadow this entire time. I hope you're entertained by that. I don't have any stats or anything like that. Like, all I know is that I've read 98 books this year, and wahoo! It hasn't been a quality reading year necessarily, but you know, there's some gems hidden in there. I actually regret how many books I've read, honestly. Like, in March, I could have slowed down just a tad bit, honestly. Anyway, I'm just gonna hop into it because who cares? I don't. So the first question is the best book I've read so far this year. Also, by the way, if you hear any weird noises, that's the turtles. I'll show you. Best books I've read. Obviously, I have a list for this. Okay, so the first one that I have is Nobody Is Ever Missing by Catherine Lacey. This is a story about a woman who was fed up with her current life, so she went to New Zealand. She ran away to New Zealand, basically, one-way trip, and throughout her journey, she meets a bunch of people, you know, eccentric and unique individuals that are scattered throughout the story. And honestly, it was a really good book. It had some like really decent quotes that I remember just like loving. She left her husband and everything that she knew and did exactly that, and honestly kind of iconic, if I must say. Kind of an asshole thing to do, but kind of like, it's okay because it's fiction, you know? Another really great book that I read is Boulder by Eva Ballister. This book was about this woman who meets another woman on a ship. The one is like a cook or whatever, and they meet each other. They kind of fall in love, and then years after, they still have this relationship going. And the one, she's like, I really want a child. I don't want my life to pass me by without having a kid. That's something that I want in this moment. And the woman, who we know as Boulder because that's what the other one calls her, that's like the nickname she gives her, she just goes with it. She's just like, sure, I'll have a baby, even though that is not the thing that she wants. And so we really kind of follow Boulder and her resentment that she stews in, and you know, all the feelings alongside that. There's some cheating involved. She's like, I'm done with this, and she kind of like heavily flirts with another woman and has a whole thing about that. And also, like, the writing style was everything. I really liked the way that it was written. This was on the International Booker Prize. I don't know if it got shortlisted or not. Another book that I really loved was Dr. No by Percival Everett. I just love myself a good satire, okay? And so this was just the perfect story. I can't exactly say that I knew what was going on 100% of the time, because we follow this guy, what's his name? Walla Kitu, and he's a mathematician and he's super smart, and he has motivations that to find a certain thing, but kind of not a certain thing at all. Haha, if you've read the book, you get what I'm saying. He's kind of on the search. I think this is in the synopsis, so I'm allowed to say it, but he's on the search for nothing. Ironically enough, his name, Walla Kitu, literally translates to nothing, in 2 different languages. And so, like, that's a whole bit of it, you know, it's very satirical, like I just said. And it's like, he is kind of alongside this guy who wants to be a real-life James Bond villain, and it's very much that, like, it's action-packed, yet hysterical. I read it in like one sitting while I was high. It's a fast-paced book, and it was just like such a fun experience, and it was my first 5-star of the year. So that's cool. Like, that's just how I felt after I read it. I was like, damn, that was good. Another great book that I read was My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. I just really liked the story that was taking place. Basically, Lucy is in a hospital and her mom comes and visits her. She like lives in New York now, and she's an author, and you know, had success in being an author, and like that's a whole thing. But now she's here in the hospital room for weeks on end. Her husband doesn't want to visit her because he hates hospitals, so her mom is there for a long period of time. And it's interesting because they have such an estranged relationship, and we learn small things about Lucy's life, like it wasn't an easy time for her, and that like they were very poor and people would make fun of their family and like behind their backs and stuff, and it's just like a whole story about that. It's just like done so well, and it like omits more than it says kind of, but then like you kind of can tie in what exactly Lucy is feeling at any given moment. Like it's like you have enough information to understand the, what's the word I'm looking for? Importance of it all, I guess. I don't know. Another book that I read, really loved, Haven by Emma Donoghue. Why the fuck was it so good? Why was it that good? It didn't have to go that hard. Basically, it was about these, what is it called? Monks who they had their whole entire, like they had a whole place, you know, a group, a community that they existed in. But then this one guy, he has a dream and he's like, oh, I am supposed to go off and form my own colony, my own community, and I'm going to bring you and you with me. And so it's basically this guy who's like really fucking old. He's like 80 years old, still just kicking. And then this really, really young guy, he's about like 17, and he's like described as not the sharpest tool in the box, you know what I mean? So those three go off into literally in the middle of nowhere and build this whole thing, and they're working their goddamn ass off for no return really, obviously. And it's a whole entire story. Resentment feel like happens, and you know, the boss man is just a little bit mad. I know I keep talking about writing style, but if I am going to talk about Emma Donoghue, I'm gonna have to tell you, holy shit, the way that it was written, because that's like, I felt like that wasn't really my type of book that I would be usually gravitated towards with the subject matter. But the way that she writes, it was just like, you know how they tell authors, show, don't tell, or whatever? Like, Emma Donoghue understood that. She understood, like, the adjectives and the verbs and the, literally just the prose of it all was absolutely amazing, enough for me to just already, like, love it so much. And then she made me care about these characters, or, like, care about what is about to happen, what is going to happen, what is going on. It was great. This is just gonna be the last book I'll talk about for my favorites. I can't believe I'm already 12 minutes into this fucking thing. I'm gonna have fun editing this one. Felishman is in Trouble by Tracy something or another. I don't know her last name. It's, you know, books. But this, I just gotta say, I've read a lot of books about divorce or about hostile relationships, but this one was done better than I've ever seen before. And I really appreciated that, and that's why that made the list. Also, I really like the cover. The cover's doing something for me. On to the next question. Best sequel that I have read this year. I haven't really read that many sequels. I think literally just Heartstopper Volume 2 and Anything is Possible by Emma Strout. Hello, I am editing. Yes, I do everything on my little phone here. Film and edit, you know. You don't have to do much to be a booktuber. Anyway. I cannot believe I said Emma Strout. I meant Elizabeth Strout. And also, I kept calling this girl, what is her name? Actually, I still don't know. Felishman is in Trouble author. I think her name is Taffy. And I kept saying Tracy. I thought I'm like, whatever. I know these names. I just have a memory like that. No, the fuck I don't. Stop trying. I was so... I can't believe I said Emma Strout. Wait. So that's the sequel to My Name is Lucy Barton. It's done very uniquely because it's not exactly a follow-up sequel. What it is a bunch of short stories about how people who had known Lucy and her family throughout the years, you know, in school and in the community. It's in like different point of views each story, and it really puts into like, there's some puzzle pieces that are missing in the very first one that you can kind of connect, and it's just like just that much more. And I think that that's such a creative way to go about a sequel. Like, that was dope as shit when I realized what was happening. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. And like, we kind of see Lucy as a child, and we know her from this first one, and whether you fell in love with her or not. That's another thing about these books, like Lucy, and honestly every person in this series, there's 4 books in this series, and they are all like such real people. Like Lucy especially, and William and William, like they feel so tangible. It's crazy. So knowing more about this person is just like really compelling. Releases that I haven't read yet, but I want to. I have a list of this, and I had to write them down so that I could remember every single one. Biography of X by Catherine Lacey. I want to read all of her stuff. Have you ever read Pew? I read Pew last year. That was definitely in my mid-year freak out last year. Like, I talked about that book, so it's like Catherine is doing something for me. Chlorine by Jade Song, I really want to read. Brutes by Dis Tate. Rosewater by Liv Little. The Memory of Animals by Claire Fuller. Ripe by Sarah Rose Etter. Gone to the Wolves by John Ray. And Your Driver is Waiting by Priya Guns. The next question, most anticipated release for the second half. I only have a few of these. These are auto-buy authors, auto-buy or auto-read more like, because I don't really buy that many books. Death Valley by Melissa Broder. Please give me some more of that. Melissa Broder is one of my favorite fucking authors. Actually, all 3 of these people are some of my favorite authors. So, Rouge by Mona Awad. Yes, please and thank you. You know, I didn't care about Bunny. I really didn't care for that book, but All's Well was what did it for me. And then 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl, that's her first story, her first novel. That was amazing as well. Bunny is her flop. I strongly believe that. But All's Well is what really put her on the radar for me, so I'm really excited to see what she has next. And then Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is going to be her first adult fiction. She has 3 other books, but they're all YA, and so I'm excited for that. Biggest disappointments of the year, I would say Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. That had so much potential, just like the story and concept of it all, like, yes please. But the way that it was executed, it felt very YA for one, and also just like didn't give us time to care about anything that was happening, I felt. And so I don't know, it's just kind of flopped. I gave it a 2-star. Weather by Jenny Awful is another one. I had high hopes just because of what like this description said, like the synopsis, and it like compared it to some other books that I like, or some other authors that I really like. But this is another one. It's like I could not connect with the entire story. I'm like, I don't know why you thought this was the perfect way to make this story, because it was just so disconnected that I just couldn't get behind it. I didn't care about anything that was happening at all. And then Wash Day Diaries by Jamila Rouser. The only thing I have to say about this, I absolutely loved that story. It was so cute, but I actually only gave it a 3-star because I think that it would have benefited so much if it was a lot longer. Like, it's a graphic novel, so it's like how much can you really say? But I don't know, like there was like I was like falling in love with these people, and then all of a sudden it's done, it's over. And I'm like, okay, I wish it was a lot longer. Oh, and then The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson, or whatever the fuck his name is. It'll be right here, okay? I'm not trying to like butcher or be rude or anything, okay? Literally right when I finished the book, I was like, I could have written that better. I could have done that better. And like, I don't know where that fucking came from, because I haven't written shit in my life, but like for some reason I just like, it had so much potential in my head. But then I was, okay, that flopped. I was expecting like some big chaotic rom-com. I think that had so much potential. Honestly, it made me like kind of want to write a chaotic rom-com with an autistic main character. I do like a Rosie Project retelling. No, biggest surprises. I would say We Spread by Ian Reid was surprisingly like emotional and poignant even. Like, I don't know, there was something about it. I was expecting all that, and I think that if you haven't read it, you should. It wasn't too horrific, like it's a horror, but I feel like it's a very literary horror, and I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting the literary part of it, so I really enjoyed that. Haven by Emma Donoghue, that was another surprise again. Like I said, like the subject matter, not my go-to, but she did it for me. She made it work. Tampa by Alyssa Nutting is also on this thought wave just because I was definitely surprised, maybe you could even say appalled at the subject matter. I was not expecting what I read. I like was on Goodreads and I was like, okay, I want to read Tampa because I randomly picked up a book called Made for Love. It's by the same person, and you know, it was a fun little time, whatever. It wasn't the greatest book. I gave it a 3. Like, I enjoyed the story throughout, but I was not expecting Tampa to be in the category of like extreme horror or really, really fucked up story. Basically it's about a woman who is a pedo and she gets a job at a fucking school, and it's graphic and disturbing, but done so well. Like, this character is tangible as fuck, and it made my stomach hurt. It was definitely a surprise that what I read. I honestly, like, that was the last book I read. Well, not the last book, but the book before the last book I read. Who cares? Favorite new author. Here we go again. I'm about to say a name that I think I have said like 4 or 5 times now. Emma Donoghue. I read Room first, and I enjoyed it, and then I saw how many books she had, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was at the library, and I was just like in like the D section, I guess, and I saw Haven, and so I just randomly picked it up. I was like, okay, cool, and I really liked the cover, so I picked it up, read it, fell the fucking love. And so the next time I went to the library, I picked up another Emma Donoghue. I picked up The Wonder, and that book was so great. Kind of commentary about like Catholic guilt a little bit, which is very intriguing. Absolutely fucking loved it. I went to the library again and picked up Frog Music by her. I haven't read that one yet, but I plan on it soon, so that's cool. She's doing it for me. Also, Monica Heisey, I think is her name. I don't know how to pronounce that, but she's the one who wrote Really Good Actually. That's her debut fiction novel. Like, I will be on the lookout for her. Newest fictional crush. What the fuck do I look like having a fictional crush? No, but I was like, I don't do crushes really, but I think if I had to choose, Big Swiss from the book Big Swiss, you know, she is kind of the interest of, like, the main character is intrigued by Big Swiss, and you know what, so was I. I thought she was pretty cool and kind of hot, so she's the winner for that one, I guess. Newest favorite character. I would say Sam from Happily Ever Afters. I really liked him. He was like a very, like, I feel like I don't read much about like quirky characters, or not even quirky, like I don't know if that's the right word, but he like stuttered and he was kind of awkward and like, but also a very, very sweet guy, and just like I was rooting for him. I liked him a lot and I would be friends with him, please and thank you. Even though he was like a high schooler in the book, but you get it. Like, if I was that age or if he was my age, I think we'd be pals. Okay, the next question was books that made you cry. I also had to make a list for this because something you should know about me, I'm a kind of a big crybaby. Like, with movies and books and also in real life, I cry a lot. You know, it's just the water sign things, you know what I mean? So here is my list. Felishman is in Trouble. Really Good Actually. Oh wait, I should probably say who it's by. Felishman is in Trouble by that Tracy woman. Really Good Actually by Monica Heisey or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. Now Is Not the Time to Panic by Kevin Wilson. Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend by Matthew Dix. Ginny Moon by Benjamin Ludwig. Heaven by Yeko, I don't know her last name. Girl and the Goddess by what's her name? I always say it too. That's the annoying part. Nikita Gill. And Nobody Is Ever Missing by Catherine Lacey. And Sharks in the Time of Saviors. I have to be honest, I have no clue who that's by. Those books made me cry. Then the next question is books that made you happy. I gotta say Heartstopper Volume 1 and 2. One Piece Volume 1 and 2. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. Not the Time to Panic. Yes, it made me cry and also made me happy. It's a confusing time. And Moo by I don't know who, but that's like a middle grade, so you know, it was just cute. It was a cute little moment. Okay. Most beautiful book that I bought this year. Well, you know, I don't really buy books. I actually have bought 0 books at all in 2023. I do not buy books that much. Plus I don't have the money to. It's fine. But I will use this as the most beautiful book I've read. And I will say Haven by Emma Donoghue. Like, this cover was doing something for me. I really, really liked it. I actually stared at it for a bit. Like, I'm just like, this is such a good, like, I just think it represents what's inside the book so well. It just like, it's just all immersive. It's a atmosphere thing. But this cover specifically, because there's other covers of it, but nothing does it justice like this one. And also, I'll say Supper Club by Laura Williams. I really, really like that one too. It's pretty and colorful and cool. What books do I need to read before the end of the year? Not talking about the aforementioned anticipated releases that I just said. I guess Fairy Tale by Stephen King, which is funny actually because I am reading it now. I actually started it today and I'm really happy that I did because I've been wanting to read that and I'm liking it so far. I think I want to finish off Emma Donoghue's backlist this year. That might be ambitious, but that is a goal of mine. Oh, and The 7 Moons of Molly Almeida, bro, I know, I shouldn't say I know I'm gonna love that book because like it is a 5-star prediction for me. I've been wanting to read it for the past 10 months. Every single time I go to the library, okay, I saw it twice there at the library. It was in the new release section and I was like, I'll get to you one day, but I want to do it at a time when I can like vlog my experience. I literally waited the 2 times when I saw it, like I waited around for that. And so I never picked it up from the library. And then every single time after, I've gone probably 7 times after that. I never have seen it. I can't find it. I think it's always checked out or something. I can't really tell. But yeah, like literally, I've been wanting to read that for way too goddamn long. Okay, also there was another question and it was talking about like film to book adaptions or whatever, and I haven't watched one of those. But I will say some that are on my radar. One that's on my radar for sure is Room. I really, really want to watch that movie. I don't know if I'll like it. And then also same thing with Fleishman Is in Trouble. I think I'll dabble in that. I'll put my toes in it, sure. Even though I don't think I'll like it. And I don't think Jesse Eisenberg is a good Fleishman character. I don't like that he's the guy. I don't like that at all. So I'll probably watch like 1 episode and determine if I like it or not, but I probably won't. Okay, that was it. I really like this tag. Honestly, whoever created it is a real one because these are important questions. You gotta check in the middle of the year. I never know how to end my videos, like truthfully, so I'm just gonna say bye. Have a good day.